Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to do the hang method. I've been getting a lot of questions about hang method, how you use it, when you use it, and what's the best way to do it. Now this is a tumbler that has been started. It needs a final coat of epoxy just to finish it out. We've just been having fun. This is a tumbler that I've been doing for one of my moderators, and it is going to just need its final coat of epoxy. Now the hang method can be your final coat if you don't need to cover any lumps or bumps. But if you have a tumbler that just needs the finishing shiny gloss, you've got it sanded down, it's perfect, and just needs that last little glossy finish, the hang method can be perfect, especially if your turners are all full and you are unable to turn the cup and you have a time crunch and you need it finished. So what the hang method is, it is about 2 to 5 grams of epoxy that will be your final coat, and you apply it by hand and you hang it up to dry. You do not have it on a turner. This hang method is also the best way to apply glitter, chunky glitter. It's amazing. It's definitely useful in applications such as this one. This one is getting ready to be a peekaboo tumbler. We applied that chunky universal glitter, the white universal glitter, onto this cup with the hang method, which means that glitter is gripped onto this tumbler very, very, very well. So when we apply the fluids over the top, the liquids of the alcohol, it doesn't break down there's no spray adhesive there, because if you use spray adhesive or Mod Podge, that alcohol ink can kind of re-gooify that base and that glitter can fall off, or you just have a damaged cup after that. But if you use hang method, that's going to give you a nice, strong, solid bond for your chunky glitter. You can see it lays down nice and flat, and that glitter was applied by this. I will do that in a different video, but today is about the top coating with hang method. So we've got this cup, it's ready to go. This is just some epoxy that I had left over from another project. You can mix epoxy for hang method. Again, it was just originally, I found it because I just hated wasting. You only need a few grams. Literally, the last little drips of epoxy in the bottom of a cup is all you want. If it's really easy to apply it, it means you probably have too much. This right there is all you will need. It's about the size of a quarter. This is a 20-ounce straight tumbler. It's about the size of a quarter, the drip. I'm not even ending up using all of this because if you add too much, you will get drips because it will try to self-level. The goal is it's going to be a thin layer, so thin that it won't drip, so you don't have to deal with drips coming off the cup. When you do hang method, you apply it to the butt of the cup, then take your finger and push some epoxy around and off the edge of the cup all the way around the tumbler. The reason you do it this way and apply a little bit off each end is because if you push all of that epoxy off onto one side and then start trying to apply, you have to try to get all that epoxy down and all the way around the cup to this side. But if you put a little bit on each edge all the way around the cup, all you need to do is take this epoxy that's right there and do a repetitive motion down the cup until you push it right there and it gets right to the edge. Then you can start the next section. And again, if you had just pushed all that epoxy to here, I would now be trying to push and move that epoxy all the way around. But because I have a little bit across around the entire cup, I just need to use some elbow grease and push it all the way down. Again, this is meant to be a very, very thin layer. This is, if you can do an entire tumbler using the hang method if you are new to this craft and you have not invested in a turner yet. But it is a much longer process because it takes many, many, many layers of hang method to do an entire cup and to get a nice smooth surface because each layer is so thin. So it's not recommended, but it is useful. I do know that there's a lot of people who try out making tumblers and they do whole cups using the hang method just to get started until they can either afford or decide to really commit and get into the turner of the tumblers. But again, you can see it takes a little bit of effort. It's not, if you can just slide your finger and push and go all the way to the bottom, you have way too much epoxy. You should have to work to get that. And you can start seeing this nice, smooth, soft, shine, this super glossy surface of the cup. Also, when you are doing the hang method, make sure that your spray paint that you're going over, if you're going over spray paint or glitter, make sure that spray paint has been able to dry for a full 24 hours. because the coating of the hang method is so thin that it will fisheye on you quite easily. So the big thing is, if your spray paint is not completely dried for a full 24 hours, it's still gassing off and it will interrupt the epoxy. But there you go. So there is a full coat of hang method. Now this will dry for at least, well, full cure is 72 hours, but if you need to do multiple coats, you just need to wait about 6 hours and you can do another coat of hang method. And you can just continue to add layers of hang method until you have a nice full surface. But again, if you have a cup that's totally finished, you've just done the final sanding, all it needs is to be shiny, this is the great application because you can just do that super thin coat over the top. You're not wasting any extra product. You're not putting any more weight on the cup by adding like 30 grams of epoxy to the cup. It's just a couple grams. It gives you that smooth, shiny surface again, and then your cup is ready to go. Now this will go on a drying rack, and this is how it will dry, just sitting up like this. And it will cure just like this, and it shouldn't have any drips or bubbles. If you have bubbles, then you have applied too much epoxy. It should be so thin that you cannot have bubbles because there's nowhere for those bubbles to sit because the epoxy is so thin. All right, I hope I answered all your guys' questions. If you have any questions, drop them below, or you can join our Facebook group, LittleLee and Rose Tumblers and Epoxy Art. I go live there Monday through Friday and teach. You are welcome to go there and ask questions and interact with us as a group. Also, when you work with epoxy, guys, make sure you wear your safety equipment, your respirator, and your nitrile gloves. And we'll see you guys here for the next tutorial. Bye, guys.